Yes, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Never a dull day. It is the international break, and yet we are sitting here, and my camera's gone a bit wonky. Other than that, let's sort that out. There we go. Got to be just on the line. Very pedantic about that. The transfer window. Let me rewind and start this show again. Anyone would think I've just woken up. Big up, welcome to you. It is the international break, but Tottenham are never far from the news. We have got decisions to make. There is lots of rumours. We have not only got rumours about a manager now, we've got rumours about another manager in the summer. Spurs at the moment are juggling with two sets of managers for two different outcomes. This is absolutely hilarious. Only Tottenham could be in this position. It is quite clear that Igor Tudor has been a disaster. It's very, very clear. It's very clear that lots of people kidded themselves that everything was great because we beat Atletico, who were 5-2 up on aggregate. It's a disaster. This guy is terrible. Sorry, he seems like a lovely guy. I wish him the best in the future, but this guy is taking us down very quickly. 1 point from 15 is absolutely atrocious. As I said yesterday, for any of those watching, I just want to go back to basics. And do you know what? I got this text message earlier. Didn't. It's a WhatsApp. That shows my age. I got this message earlier, and it said this. It said, whoever it is, I beg, just round pegs in round holes. Play fullbacks at fullback, centre-backs at centre-back, attacking mids in attacking mids, wide players out wide. And that's all I want. And again, this is why, I'll be honest, I found it really hard work last night on the Spurs 5 because I've got idiots like Eugene in the chat. Sorry, he's just constantly going at me. People like Destiny who ruin for me being on shows. Going, you're negative. What am I negative about, mate? We haven't won for 13 Premier League games and you're calling me negative. Crazy. These are the sort of people who own their own business, don't listen to their accountant, and then on the day when the bank knock on the door and go, sorry, we've got to close your business down, they go, oh, but why? You got people like that going, oh, you said the players were shit. No one can get a tune out of them. Sure, I don't think the players are great. That doesn't mean somebody doesn't come in and put them in a shape. Like, people are so odd. People are so odd. They can't quite understand. Go back to basics, right? Go back to basics. That's all it needs to be. But again, the point scoring. But you like Frank. But you, oh my God. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Right now, we are a mess. And we've been saying that for years. But now the mess isn't just a mess. The mess is to the point where Spurs could lose their Premier League identity. And we're more worried about, oh, but you like Frank. Who cares? Frank's gone. He's been sacked. As I said, when a manager's sacked, they're sacked. See you later. They're gone. Don't cry about it for years afterwards, right? Frank's gone. The new manager's remit, this is what I was trying to explain to people yesterday. The new manager's remit, whether I like him, whether you like him, yeah? Keep Spurs up. To keep Spurs up, you've got to get points. This is not rocket science anymore. This isn't even an opinion, is it? This isn't opinion. The new manager needs points to keep Spurs up. Fact. Whether you like him, whether I like him, whatever, he is not doing that. He is not doing that. He is not getting points. We are conceding more goals than ever. We are conceding more goals than ever. We need somebody to come in for the last 7 games, goes back to basics and just says, right, let's make this team more difficult to beat. Let's scrape a point here, a point there, one cheeky win here. Because at the moment, we deserve this. Not us, not the fans, football club. Rumours today that by mutual consent, he's going to leave. I don't know. Could that be today, tomorrow, next week? Will it happen at all? None of us know. We're all playing the guessing game. Then there's rumours that it will be Harry Redknapp. Then there's rumours that it will be Tim Sherwood. Rumours coming out. Someone's just messaged me. I won't say saying it could be Chris Hughton coming in for an interim job. Then we've got the conversation about, well, De Zerbi will take it if we stay in the Premier League. And of course, I've seen people saying, if he wanted it, he'd take it now. Why? Why, if you were De Zerbi, would you take this poison chalice with 7 games to go? You absolutely wouldn't. Right? Tottenham Hotspur are a mess from top to bottom. Right? Whether you want to blame Ange or Frank or Jose or Conte or Poch or Tudor or Nuno or Levy or Vinay or Vivian Lewis and Boucher and I don't know, Charrington. None of it matters right now. What matters is we need to stay up. That is it. The be-all and end-all. We need to stay up. Is De Zerbi the guy? We'll talk about him for a more long-term in a minute. But De Zerbi's not the guy that you bring in for a relegation fight, is it? That's a guy you bring in that implements a good philosophy of football, and it will take a while to get there. We don't have a while. We've got 7 games. We've got 7 games. You know, without all the cliches, they are cup finals, aren't they? Look at the next 3. We've got 2 away from home, 1 at home. I don't even know which one of those is better right now. It used to be you'd go, oh, we've got some home games. Now this is 3-point lane, isn't it? This is 3-point lane. Everyone enjoys playing us. I thought we were rubbish from start to finish on Sunday. I know people are going, well, we had more. I mean, I think we had like 52% to their 48 in the first half. Speaking to the Forest fans, they never felt threatened from Tottenham. And this is the problem. I think we're now looking for positives where there aren't any. And that's a worry for me. I think the Liverpool game, I didn't think we were good, but we snatched a draw and everyone's like, oh, we played some. No, we didn't. We just lofted the ball into the box to Richarlison. Let's be fair. That's what we did. So, look, I get it. I'm perceived as negative. I get it. But surely right now, people can't be sitting there and thinking I'm negative when I'm worried about this football club with 13 games and no win. Surely. Look, we're going to talk in this show about De Zerbi. Some want him, some don't. Lots of people like his style of football, his philosophy on the game, his ethos. Lots of people worried about his character rather than his ability to manage. There's lots to talk about Zerbi Kell. We'll have a look at him as the director of football. He's just left as director of football at Dortmund. Did some good things there, but you read and there's some worrying things there. But somebody said to me yesterday, how can we plan for the summer when we don't know what league we're going to be in? Like right now, let's be honest. If we'll talk about it a bit later. Kehl and De Zerbi are not going to join Tottenham in the Championship, right? Like they're not. I mean, if they do, fair play to them. Can't see it in a million years, can you? And that begs the question, doesn't it? That begs the question. Have they started looking at managers in the eventuality of going down? I'm just asking, have they done that? I don't know. You know what I'd do? If we go down, I'd give it to Sherwood. If we went down, I'd give it to someone like Sherwood. That's what I would do. I would give it to someone like Tim Sherwood. But I wonder, are the football club, have they started putting the provisions in place for the transfer window and for the manager and the director of football for if we go down into the Championship? Now that sounds negative, but this is a very real possibility right now. This is a very, very real possibility. So I'm hoping that we stay up and we go, right, okay, let's just say Kell and De Zerbi, whatever, right? Those two are the talk at the moment, right? Kell and De Zerbi, go. I'm hoping that that's what we do. But what if we go down? Who's going to want the job? Which manager's going to go, I'm going to take the Tottenham job and I'm going to make history as being the first Tottenham manager in the Premier League era to not be in the Premier League? Do Tottenham plan? We hear lots of noise, don't we? They're planning. And the thing is, right, is I don't think we've got an overall plan, but right now they're talking to people for now. You know that they're talking to people, but it's just whether or not there is a plan. There's a difference between a plan for 7 games and a plan for 7 years, right? And this is what Tottenham have never done. So I don't know. Look, the honest answer from me, I don't know. I don't know in any way, shape, or form. But listen, whoever comes in, let's assume he goes in this next couple of weeks. Whoever comes in, the pressure of keeping Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League is huge. Now, they might get a massive payday, right? Here's 2 million, manage 7 games. You get an extra $1 million if you stay up. That's what I'd be saying. If I was someone, I'd be going, yeah, I'll do it. Give me 2 million. I want 2 million for the 7 games. I want an extra $1 million if I keep you coming up, if I keep you up. That's what I would do. Because this person's walking in to a shit show. This person's walking into a club where even the captain doesn't give a shit. And if anyone's seen that video clip going around of him just walking back when Forest had an attack, he's just walking back. And you look at it and you go, what do you do? Fans can turn up, the fans can sing. But when your captain goes down in the opposition half and just wanders back, he just walks back. He just walks back. And you look at that and you go, this is absolutely horrific. This is absolutely horrific. That's the captain. You should be busting a gut. But that is what the new manager will be walking into. He will be walking into that. Now, what I do think that the players are good enough to keep us up if somebody comes in right now and puts them into a proper setup. I'm not talking about implementing philosophies at this stage, but comes in, puts them into a proper setup. Said this yesterday. Just go to the 4-2-3-1, whatever, 4-4-3-2-1, whatever. Just keep it simple. Square pegs, square holes. Somebody that walks in and says, listen, back 4, be a back 4. You're in a relegation battle. Be a back 4. Romero, stop being a hero. Stop wandering upfield. That's what they're for. You didn't see Murillo and Milenkovic wandering upfield, did you? No. They let Anderson do it. They let Gibbs-White do it. They let Hutchinson and Odoi do it, and Jesus. We've got Romero out on the right wing. Again, discipline. Discipline. This isn't about ability now. This is about being disciplined and fighting for the cause. And there is enough there to stay up. Of course there is. But not under this current setup. Not how we're heading at the moment. 1 point from 15 is undeniably awful. You're meant to have a manager bounce, right? Some form of bounce. I'm not expecting Igor Tudor to beat Arsenal. No, not at all. I don't expect Igor Tudor to come in and win 5 out of 5. I expect 1 win out of 5 as a bare minimum, right? You expect 1. What, 1 win out of 5? Surely. But then again, as I said on the show last night, people want to make it about Frank. It's nothing to do with Frank now. He's gone. People wanted him out. He's out. New manager in. Come on, show us. All right, you're not winning games. Okay, why not? You think if Spurs had won 1 game in 5, we right now would be sitting 4 points clear. And you're all sitting there going, woof, okay, over to you, West Ham. Over to you, West Ham. Over to you. But right now, Leeds and Forest are above us and going, right, over to you, Tottenham and West Ham, because we've not managed to win 1 of 5. And 3 of those games have been at home. So does it need a change? I think so. I absolutely think so. I've got nothing against Igor Tudor. I've got nothing against him. I didn't have any feeling about him coming in or not. I don't have any feeling about him leaving. I just think that when you're in a relegation scrap, you need to do the basics well. I think you need someone that knows the league, and I think you need somebody that can inspire. I look at Tudor, that's not an inspiring man to me. And look, we know that the talks are that Zerbi won't take it now, but he will in the summer. Don't blame you. Don't blame you, Zerbi, at all. God, can you imagine if you were somebody with somewhat of a reputation and Tottenham called you now, said, take it on a permanent, you'd go, nah, I'm not taking that on a permanent. We could be down next year. And then I've got to pick up the mess. So there's so many questions. There's so many questions at Tottenham. Who's going to be the manager for the next game? Who's going to be the manager for next season? What league are we in next season? Who's going to be the director of football for next season if we stay up or if we go down? There are so many questions at Tottenham Hotspur right now. And I'm in a position now where I just keep, I dip in and out of YouTube shows. I don't always post in the chat. And some of the comments, you would think Tottenham have lost 1 in 15. You honestly would think the way some fans talk. As I said, there are people in my chat right now that were literally sitting here last week saying, this is only Forest. What are we doing here? We'll sweep past them. You're like, oh dear, you don't know the club. You don't know football. If you thought that, you don't know football, right? Who on earth thought we were going to sweep past Nottingham Forest, a well-organised team that don't concede goals at a ground where we don't win? It's only Forest. And you look at that and you go, these are the same fans that are going, I now want that manager. It's like, yeah, but you don't understand football. This is worrying. I can't hear from people that say really silly things. Last night on the show, I'm told Papa Sarr, good God, he's awful every game I watch. God, he's awful. We've got fans that want him. We got, I don't know what we're doing. I'm so confused about this football club. I'm so confused about this football club. Sniffer. Again, you're talking about Frank. He's gone. There's a reason Frank went. This new manager's job was to do better. He's done worse. What are you not understanding? Can we please stop this Ange v Frank, Frank v Tudor? Can we please stop this? All that matters is that the manager right now is doing a terrible job. His job was one thing. His job was to keep Tottenham up and get points, and he is not. And you're right, there is one real question. How do we? And I don't think it's with this manager. I don't. I think it needs somebody to come in and look. I hate the manager merry-go-round. I hate it. I think it's pathetic. But this is Premier League survival right now. We're no longer talking about a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year plan. We're talking about 7 games for survival. Spurs have players fit now. There's no excuse. We've got players fit. Yes, we know the long term. We know Odegaard's out for the season. We know Kulu and Maddison. We know their situation. But for the next game, apparently Kudus is back. Bentancur could be back. Bergval's now back. Adogi's back. Right? You've now got a squad of 20 senior players. Next game could be a squad of 22 senior players. There's no excuses. We need points. That doesn't mean we're going to win every game. I don't expect this squad is anywhere near good enough to win every game. But I would expect that out of 5 games, with a new manager coming in, he would make us hard to beat. Look how bad we are at the back. Look how bad we are at the back under this manager. It is, even in the games where people are telling me we've played well, look how many chances we concede. Look how many shots we have on our goal. Look how many goals we've conceded. Right now, all that matters is staying up. All that matters. Luke, 7 draws, I think does it. Possibly. Can we even get that? I don't know. Listen, when Tudor came in, my prediction from the last 12 games was 7 points. And I got absolutely berated for it. Absolutely berated for it. Berated. And we've had 1 from 15. I'm sticking with my 7. And the reason I'm sticking with my 7 is because I think that this manager will go. And hopefully a new manager can find 2 wins from somewhere. Hopefully. Maybe Everton have nothing to play for. Maybe Everton have nothing to play for by the end of the season. Now, that's not the scenario right now, is it? Everton are in a race for the Champions League as it stands. The Champions League. Everton are in a race for the Champions League. Imagine Everton have to come to us on the last day. They've got a bloody good away record, by the way. And we need something from the game. You know what? The same fans go, it's only Everton, weren't they? It's only Everton. Same people. And this is the worry. You're now playing teams that have things to play for. Sunderland are playing for a Conference League place. We go to their ground next. Sunderland. After that, Brighton. Let's see what Brighton still can do. Brighton. 3 points off the Conference League. Brighton playing for Europe. Then you got Wolves, who aren't playing for anything but pride. And they have no pressure on them. Then what we got? Why do I always forget our fixtures? Here we go. Tottenham fixtures. Then you've got Villa playing for Champions League. Then you've got Leeds fighting to stay up. Then you've got Chelsea. They'll be fighting for Champions League. And then you've got Everton, who are fighting for Europe. Every team we play is fighting for something. Every single team we're playing, other than Wolves, can either go down or get Europe. That's what we're up against now. Every single game is going to be a battle. This manager cannot take it. Lots of people have said this, right? And Clay, Clay, I think this is an interesting one, right? I agreed. If we go into the Championship, I think it's a good job because we're Tottenham in the Championship and we're a good chance of getting out of it. But it's a bad job because you become the manager that's the first manager to manage outside of the Premier League at Tottenham. And I don't know, Clay, I don't know at the moment. All I know is I said when Frank sacked, not that he didn't need to go or not that he couldn't go or not that I'm bothered, but be careful what you wish for because it can get worse. And people said it can't get worse than Frank, and it has. And it has got worse, hasn't it? And now they've got to make sure that this next person that comes in, it can't get worse again. But again, for all we know, people might be turning this job down left, right, and centre. And the conversation in the chat about Fabregas, I like Fabregas as a manager. However, the optics right now at Tottenham for these owners to install an ex-Arsenal captain would just look horrible. It would just look horrible. Look at the Vinay stuff that's going on. It would look horrible. It's not about him as a manager. It would look horrible. And immediately half the fan base would not want it. So you would start with a new manager again and lots of people going, oh my God, we've gone and got another Arsenal connection. And unfortunately, I'm not saying that's right, but that's the way the world works. Look, lots of people have been very positive with no... Phil, I think you've missed the point here. Zerbi and Kell are for next season. Redknapp and Sherwood would be for this season. Zerbi and Kell won't be for now. Then you could bring in any director of football right now. You can't buy any players. It doesn't mean anything. I think you've got crossed wires there. Absolutely. It'd be massive. People are being messaged. People are saying that Fabregas has shares in Como as well. I don't know. I don't know the situation, but also he gets money spent on him. Como, doesn't he? Good money spent on him. Look, I don't know, right? I don't know. We'll talk about Kehl and Zerbi in a minute. We will talk about them in a minute. But it's a tough one, right? The next two decisions this football club make are fucking huge. They're huge. They're absolutely monstrous. And they've got a habit of not getting things right. The next decisions they make are massive. And I'm talking about the next 3 decisions. 1, the immediate concern. Who comes in to keep us up? That's it. That's the one at the moment, right? I think you'll all agree with me. 2, who is the manager in the summer, assuming we stay up for the long term? 3. Who is the director of football that's going to work with Lang? Massive decisions. This club have huge decision upon huge decision upon huge decision. And the problem is, how many of us as fans trust them to get it right? Be brutally honest. In the chat right now, just tell me yes or no. That's it. Yes, you trust them to get it right. No, you don't. And this, for me, is the bigger problem. Right? This is the bigger problem. Right now, I've got no doubt in my mind, only me personally, that Igor Tudor can't stay at this football club. Right? He can't. And I think they're going to have a mutual parting, and he goes his way. He saves the embarrassment of getting sacked. The board saved the embarrassment of this guy taking us down. But then you go, right, Tottenham Hotspur, what's your choice? Now, here's something that we don't look into as fans. As fans, we can go, him. For all we know, him might be saying no, right? We don't know that. We don't know. There will be people turning it down. This is not attractive. Tottenham right now are not attractive. Yes, but Pochettino's not going to join Tottenham with 7 games of a season to go. I think we need to stop the Poch talk. That's more of a summer conversation, and we'll get to that. So there will be people saying no. There are people that are going to look at this and go, this is not attractive. For example, we'll see people talking about Xabi Alonso and Xavi. How do we know that they're going to look at this job in the summer and go, cool, that's attractive? Would you? 2 people with a reputation like Xabi Alonso and Xavi Hernandez? Would you be looking at this right now and going, cool, that's exciting? Or are you looking at that and going, God, look at the state of this club. Look at the state of this football club. Look how badly they've managed everything from top to bottom. And the manager's agent's going to be having a word going, we need assurances, right? We need assurances. You know this will happen in negotiations. Can you imagine? I don't think this would happen. Xabi Alonso, for example. Tottenham want to bring him in the summer because we've stayed up. Xabi Alonso and his agent are going to be asking for massive, massive reassurances. How much say do I get in signings? How much money do I get to spend? How much player sale money do I get to spend? How long have I got? What's my bonus? Am I allowed to sell whoever I want? And I don't think there's a lot of fans that are realizing just how bad we've been for years, that this is not very attractive right now. This is the problem. The same fans that just say, just go and get XYZ player. Sure, but we're not attractive right now. Money talks. Loads of clubs have got money. What are we doing here? We have to think logically. And again, this comes down to Spurs need to be sensible. Sensible. For once, sensible. I don't think bringing in an ex-Arsenal person right now is going to appease the fans. It's not, is it? It's not going to appease the fans. Sensible. Are Spurs capable of doing sensible? Are we capable of going back to basics? Are we capable of bringing in a manager now that comes in and says, I need to win points? Sod how they want to play the fans. I need to win points. I'm going to go back to basics. I'm going to implement a team that gets the job done. The fans will moan and moan and moan. As I said, it was sent to me yesterday, right? It was sent to me yesterday. Honestly, this graphic was sent to me. This graph was sent to me yesterday, right? Now, obviously, you won't be able to read it that way round. But that graph showed when Spurs played Bentancur and Paulinho in the double pivot for the majority of that first half of the season compared to since we didn't do it. And it showed the level of goals we've conceded since. And the correlation is staggering. But as I said, fans don't care about that. They care more about, oh, what's the nice, attractive attack in football? And when I got sent that and I went through it, I was like, yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. It showed, right? How many games where we might have conceded none or one, as opposed to, since we've dropped that, how many we conceded 2 or 3. And what did we do? The Paulinho Bentancur double pivot doesn't work. It was needed. It was needed. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't sexy. It was needed. Because these defenders aren't as good as people make out. This defense isn't as good as people have said. Oh, on paper, this back four on paper has played together for years across numbers of games and concede goals for fun. For me personally, I need a manager that comes in and goes back to that. A double pivot in front that worries about protecting the back four. How? Nottingham Forest did it at the weekend. Protect the back four. To give you an idea, the first 15 games, won 6, drew 4, lost 5. Next 16, won 1, drawn 5, lost 10. So right now, no one should be so worried about, what about the progressive passing through the middle and the tick-attacker and the passing it? Get the results. Make us hard to beat. Get the results. Put the senior pros in. Get the physical players in that want to fight. Get your best tackler, Paulinho, in the 11. Get him in front of that back four and let him fight and protect. And this is the problem, Rob, isn't it? We don't do sensible. That's what I would do, Ellie. That's the team I put out yesterday. I would have Gallagher and Paulinho in front of a back four, protecting them, and then let Kudus, Tell, and Xavi Simons go. That's what I would do. And I kid you not. Look, I'll show you because I've still got it from yesterday. Hopefully, it's still there. Where are we? Oh no. Oh, hang on, am I still here? Yeah, I'm still here. This is, Ellie, this is what I put up yesterday. This is what I would do. No frills, no spills, no tick-a-tacker. No, I don't care about the attacking football. Just get a flat back four. Put two in front of them, i.e. how Paulinho and Bentancur played, just swapping Gallagher for Bentancur. Get the two wingers, your playmaker, and go. And this is the problem. I said this at the beginning of the season. Everyone hated it. The Paulinho-Bentancur double pivot provided us with protection. Now, that doesn't mean we won every game or we never conceded. But the data, look at the data from when we stopped playing that double pivot. That is why I was so pissed off with Frank. Frank, for me, should have stood firm and kept that and said, I don't care if the fans don't like the style. We're picking up points. That's all I would have done. But Frank moved away, I think, to appease fans. And that showed weakness from Thomas Frank. But I think if he had done that, the fans would have complained all season, but we don't play nice football. We don't. And this is an amazing point. Absolutely this. If Paulinho and Bentancur were 18 years old, the fans would have loved it. Absolutely. 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 When they're young, they get away with anything. As I said, I'm not anyone who's watched me for years, I'm not Bentancur's biggest fan. I think he's a decent midfielder. I don't think he's great. But him and Paulinho offered protection. They both work hard. They both tackle. They're both good in the box as well. Defending corners or attacking, right? As soon as we came out, remember the game at Everton? We weren't that great, but we won 3-0. Look how well the back four and the two that sat in front of them played. But we came away from that. And now, you're absolutely right, Side. And now, every single game is a different formation, a different setup, different back four, different. And if you're going to do that, you can't stick Gray and Sarr in front of a back four. There's no strength there. Neither are good in the air. There's no strength. There's no experience. And I don't think, as I said yesterday, I don't think I'm reinventing the wheel here, guys. I really don't. I just feel like back to basics. I feel like an 11 like this with the right instructions could get us safe. Doesn't mean this 11's going to win 7 out of 7. But could this 11 scrape 2 wins and a draw? Maybe. But we've not been playing. This is what makes me laugh. We've not been playing Paulinho or Gallagher, and we're not winning games. And then people go to me, Gallagher's been shit. Geezer's not been playing. What are we talking about? Everyone's praising the players that are playing and losing every week and berating the ones that aren't playing. It's just crazy. So for me, go back to basics. But again, Matt, you're not listening. You are incapable of listening, right? We're not talking about that. Yes, he was the best. I don't think he was the best player on the pitch. I think that Simmons was. But yes, Archie Gray was very good. In the Premier League, when you need 2 to sit in front of the back four, Gray is not that guy. Sarr is not. Gray is not that guy. We need to go back to basics. And you are one of the people that when we were getting better points, conceding less with Bentancur and Paulinho, you were one of the ones crying for Gray to go in midfield. Well, since Gray's gone in midfield, and I'm not blaming Gray, since we've broken up the double pivot, we don't win games of football at all. So everyone can praise Gray and praise Tell and praise this player and that, but we're not winning games of football. We are in a relegation battle. You play your experience. You play Paulinho if he's fit. You play Gallagher if he's fit. You build a partnership. We can worry about next season, right? We can worry about where does Gallagher play next year? Is Paulinho side? That's not the worry right now. It's okay for Gray to play brilliantly in a game where Atletico Madrid are 5-2 up. He played really well. He played well. I'm not knocking that. He did. But as we said, that's not the game I want to judge him by. I want to judge him. What did he do at Anfield? Nothing. What did he do at the weekend against Nottingham Forest? Nothing. Those are the games that count. They're the battles. They're the fights. That's where you have to say, how are they protecting the back four? And Gray and Sarr do not protect a back four. And this is where, as I said, people like Matt in the chat, they don't get it. We're in a battle. Yes, Colin. We need ugly points. We need to protect that back four. And again, for years, I've heard how good these defenders are. I don't see it. I don't see it. Again, just Matt, please stop. So you're not going to play Kudus or Tell. So you're not going to play Kudus or Tell. Back to basics. Back to basic. Gray offers us what different to the other midfielders? Back to basics, Matt. You've been wrong all season, Matt, with what you wanted to see. No offense, you've been wrong all season. You wanted to break up the double pivot. That's where it started to go wrong. You wanted Frank out and you said anyone but Frank, and we've got worse. You're not getting it. We need to go back to basics. We're not going to play a diamond, are we? We need some width. Kudus coming back fit and then doesn't play. Think about what you're saying, please. Just think a little bit, Matt. Please think a little bit. In your team there, you've got a team that you've picked without Mohamed Kudus. That is crazy. Back to basics. Look at what Leeds are doing. Scraping points. Look at what Forest are doing, scraping points. Back to basics. No, but you're not getting it, Michael. These people aren't getting it. I'm not talking about that. We've got to do the basics. Stop the ball going in our goal. Stop the ball going in our goal. The first rule. Frank did that to a degree and everyone hated it, right? That doesn't mean he shouldn't have gone. But Frank did that to a degree in the first half of the season and everyone hated it. Now he's gone. The new manager's job is to get more points than Frank was getting. And at the moment, he's failed. Right? Back to basics. So again, he's not getting it. He's not getting it, is he? He's not. Dude, you're not getting it. You're Matt. Okay, cool. All right, whatever. I can't bother with him anymore. As I said, whatever. If I had picked a diamond, Matt would have said something else. We all know it, right? He's back to doing what Matt does. This is the same guy, by the way, last week that said, "What are we doing here? This is Nottingham Forest. We'll beat them easily." I'm going to find his comment. Because again, this is what he does every single show. What are we doing here? These players are great. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? This is only Nottingham Forest. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? It's just too much. We're not learning as a fan base. Same fan that said, "Oh, only 3 of their team get in our 11." Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just nonsensical every show. Some Matt comments. I want Tudor gone, but how on earth can we sack him after a draw against Liverpool? Right? If we can draw at Anfield, we will put Forest to the sword. A convincing win. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what evidence presents itself. It doesn't matter what people see. They are still not learning. And this is what I find hilarious. People go, it's opinions, but you're not learning from the evidence. Forget the opinions for the moment. The evidence has shown us for years this back four is not great. But I'm told this player's better than always. Here we go. There's Matt. How many Forest players get into our 11? Sells, Anderson, Marilla, Aino. That's all. No excuses not to beat them. Call me deluded, but I see us sweeping Forest aside. Listen to their fans. They're worried about playing us. No, they weren't. If we lose, we are 100% getting relegated. This is what I mean. And then when I try to say, sorry, but why are we sweeping past Forest, right? Why are we sweeping past Forest? They're shit. They're rubbish. They're awful. And then I say, but what about us? No, we're good. We've got the... They're not learning, right? They're not learning. We're going to sweep past Forest. They just hammered us 6-0 on aggregate. Forest just beat us twice 3-0. But all of their players don't get into our team. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Ian, and this is my point. Who do we sweep past? No one. But these games come around. He did it before the Fulham game as well. This is Fulham. It's only Fulham. This is Fulham. We'll sweep past them. Palace aren't very good. Look at Palace. We'll sweep. He does it every game, right? Then he comes in with something else more radical. Don't go back to basics. Go to a diamond and blah, blah, blah. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? These same fans, by the way, it's not just him. Matt, YouTubers, we see every comment. Matt, I could pull up every comment I won't. I can see every comment you've made or that Gary Walton's made or that anyone's made. I can see everyone's comment. Everyone, right? Everyone. Look, I'll show you. I'm going to show you, right? So if you look on the right-hand side, you will see there, it says channel activity by Matt. And now if I scroll down, I can look at what the show was and I can look at look, here we go. I can look at every comment he made in that show. I could keep going. Look, I could keep going and keep going. And so this is why when people just say silly things, you have to say, hang on, no, you don't get to do that. Last week was, you can't sack Tudor after that. We've got the momentum. We're going to batter Nottingham Forest. And what frustrates me, people, fans like that get called positive. I get called negative. That's what frustrates the life out of me. It doesn't matter how bad we see someone like Romero play. We still keep convincing ourselves he's a top centre-half that's better than all these other centre-halves. Somebody messaged me on my YouTube comments yesterday, not in the show, afterwards, and said, God, it said, you and Danny wanting Milenkovic over Romero is crazy. What's he ever won in his career? And I was like, right, that there sums it up. I would take Milenkovic over Romero at Spurs because he's consistent. Not because Romero's won a World Cup and Milenkovic hasn't. Milenkovic just does his job, which is what I want. Right? That's all I want. I want a centre-half that does a job. I heard before the game, I remember I said, I'm taking their back four over ours. What? Murillo and Milenkovic over Van de Ven and Romero? Yes. Right now, yes. Last season, yes. But we just pedestal. Van de Ven's amazing. Everyone wants him. Okay, cool. I'm watching him going, you're okay. He's a good centre-half on his day, but it's what we did right with, I'm saying, who of our midfield gets in above Anderson, Gibbs, White and Sangare? Lubo's going to me, cool, Archie Gray's better than Sangare. No, he's not. No, he's not in any way, shape or form. But this is what we do. We don't want to admit how far we've fallen. We don't want to admit that other teams have better players than us. We don't want to do it. We just don't want to do it. And I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the pantomime villain. I will. I'll be that bad guy if I have to be. I'm sitting here for 13 games in a row. We're nearly half a season without winning a game. And still people tell people like me, like Stell, that we're negative. I watch all these YouTubers do their videos outside the ground. Oh, I think a 3-1 stay. I think 4-0 stay. Yeah, we're going to. And you're like, but why? Where has that come from? Where is that? But I need to see something to give me that belief. I've not seen it. And I'll play the pantomime villain if I have to. People say negativity sells. Negativity? We haven't won a game in 13, people. Yeah, but Matt, you're constantly wrong. You said that only 3 or 4 of those Forest players were good enough for Spurs. And it's mental. They're above us this year. They were above us last year. Matt, do you know what I think a lot of it is with fans? We're not humble. We see that we are 13 without a win, right? But we can't be humble. And I'll tell you what, you watch, right? Won't happen now. As we get, yes, an opinion can be wrong if the facts tell you it's wrong. This is where it's just an opinion. That is the worst saying anyone can ever say. If an opinion is, I like Snickers and you don't, right? That's opinions, right? But if an opinion is, Forest are awful, we're going to sweep them aside. That's not an opinion. That's ridiculous, right? That's ridiculous. That's copium. That's hope. That's not an opinion. Again, look, he can't give up on paper. Not on paper. What? Not on paper. Why is Jed Spence a better right back than Ola Aina on paper? Why is our left back better than Neco Williams on paper? Why? Why is Van der Ven on paper better than Murillo and Milenkovic? Why are Gray and Sarr on paper better than Sangare, Gibbs, White and Anderson? Why on paper is Tell better than Hudson-Odoi? Why on paper is Solanke better than Igor Jesus? Why? Again, on paper, listen to what we say about our... We're so deluded. We've gone so far that I'll tell you what, somebody said to me yesterday, and this is absolutely bang on. And he said to me, your fans won't learn unless they feel. Similar to what Philly says to me, right? Your fans won't learn unless they feel. They said, your fans have seen you 17th last year. You are 17th this year. And they're still out there on YouTube spurting about this player on paper, this player. Sure. And that's fine. But isn't that half the problem with Tottenham? And I think our players think that as well. I think our owners think that as well. And that's half the problem that we are in the mess we're in, is that the whole club, no one has got a grip to this. I watched Forest's back 4 at the weekend and went, I want that back 4 in a relegation battle. Murillo and Milenkovic were absolutely brilliant, weren't they? Anything that comes in a box, they deal with, right? You know what? They don't go running into midfield. They don't go wandering on the right wing. They just get it done. Now, are Murillo and Milenkovic 2 centre-halves that could get you into the top 4? I don't know, maybe if you surround them with 9 better players, maybe. But we're not talking about that, are we? We're talking about where we are. Could Forest still go down? Of course they can. But right now, I'll ask you a question in the chat. Let's see who's honest. Right now, in a relegation fight, who would you rather have for the next 7 games? Would it be Van der Ven or Romero as a back 2? Or would it be Milenkovic and Murillo? Please be brutally honest with me. In a dogfight, are you having Murillo and Milenkovic, or are you having Van der Ven and Romero? For me, all day, every day, I'm having Murillo and Milenkovic. They just get it done. This Nottingham Forest team, again, let's say, again, when people are talking about opinions, right? It's opinions. It's opinions. This Nottingham Forest team, here we go, in the Premier League. No goals conceded against Spurs. No goals conceded against Fulham. 2 against City away. 2 against Brighton. 1 against Liverpool. None against Wolves. So in 6 games, they've conceded 5 goals and they've had 3 clean sheets. 5 goals, 3 clean sheets. Spurs have conceded 13 goals. Sorry, in that time, last game was 15 goals, no clean sheets. But on paper, like, come on. This is where we're at, right? This is where we're at. This is where we're at. And I think people confuse better footballers for the right player for a system and for the situation you're in. Yeah, Dan, one of the first things Dan ever said to me, we wanted Milenkovic. I like him. I liked him when I saw him at Fiorentina. I liked him for years at Fiorentina. Is he world class? No. Does he get the job done? Yes. Do I know what I'm getting from him week in, week out? Yes, I know what I'm getting from him. I know what I'm getting for him. Right? I am not getting the ball carrying. I am not getting the passing. But he's going to win his defensive duels. He's a beast in the air. He stays at centre-back. I need that at Tottenham. I need that. Only me, I need that. I'm sure some of you need that. But what will we do next year? Can't get rid of Van der Ven and Romero. Let's go again for another year with them at the back. Okay, cool. Let's go for another year with them at the back. Your defenders need to defend, first and foremost. Cool, but Romero's good on the ball, sure, but he's absolutely rubbish at other stuff. But he's won a World Cup. I don't care what he did 4 years ago with Argentina. I don't care what he did. Was it 4, 5 years? Whatever it was, 4 years ago. I don't care what he did 4 years ago with Argentina. I don't care. I care about right now. I just don't care, right? I don't care about it. Right, let's move on from that. I'll do some super chats. Let's talk about Kehl and Zerbi. Look, I just think that sometimes football conversations are just so linear, aren't they? He's a better player. Yeah, but not for this way. If this is Gray we're talking about, did you see his data from the Forest game about his passing ratios and how many times he gave the ball away when you're saying he's technically sound? He wasn't. But again, Gray will be a good player in the future, sure. Right now, I don't want him in a relegation battle. I want a fighter. I want a fighter in front of that back 4. Absolutely, Stuart. Absolutely. You take Gary Mabber. Absolutely. Savva, who is he, even is Kehl? We'll come to it in 1 second. Let's get rid of this. Let's bring up... No, we'll bring that up in a second. Where are we? Right. Let's do some super chats. Let's do some super chats. Very generous this morning. The super sticker train is running. Maybe we'll hit a world record of super stickers. Big up to DB Forever. Thank you very much with a super sticker. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciated. That is very generous of you indeed. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you as always. The Animal has been a member for 20 months. Thank you for your support. As said, good day, Savva. Good day to you as well. With Tudor strongly rumoured to depart, which are your top two managers that are realistic options would you take to the end of the season? I think you've got to look at a Sherwood type figure, a Redknapp type figure. I don't see that a top manager is going to come in, mate, right now. I don't see that. I think that a manager like Zerbi surely would look at this and go, no, let's see how this plays out. Let's get through to May and see how this pans out. That's only me. Ryan, thank you very much, buddy. So nothing will change unless the board go. It's not about Frank, Ange, Conte, etc. So let's get together and try and push the board to sell quicker. Mate, I think that's dead in the water. I think what they did at the weekend showed that getting the board out isn't the priority here. The priority was to cheer a bus. So I don't think it's going to happen. I agree with you. Listen, people can not like one manager like another, but realistically, it's none of their fault in the bigger picture. I completely agree with you, my man. Thank you so much. A user said we couldn't sweep a garden path, let alone teams. It just makes me laugh, a user. People like that, it's funny. They come into my chat and like, you're so negative, Savva. Destiny does it, doesn't he? That Destiny bloke. We're going to win this weekend. We're going to win. If you say we're going to win every weekend, one of these times you're going to be right. Right? You will. One of these times you're going to be right. But these people like Matt, like Destiny, what they're incapable of is offering a football view with a realistic tone to it. So when people say it's just my opinion, your opinion after seeing Spurs not win for 12 games was that we sweep Nottingham Forest aside, a team that don't really concede goals. Like that, there's just no fault that has gone into that, right? There's no fault. Big up to you, user. Really appreciate that. Big up to the Too Much Show members for 28 months. That is loyalty, isn't it? Thank you very much, boys. And watch out for the date for the next fhtv barbecue. I spoke to the wife about this yesterday. I spoke to the boys, to the wife yesterday about this, and we're going to get this sorted. So, morning, Savva. Our eyes tell the story. The evidence tells the story. 2.5 years of this round pegs and senior players required now. Mate, I completely agree with you. Round pegs, round holes. Round pegs, round holes. It's not difficult. Big up, Mark. Big up to Paul G with a super sticker. Very generous, Paul. Thank you very much, buddy. Really appreciate you. Always very generous to me, as is Dean Law. Big up to you. Always remember, Dean, round pegs, round holes. Thank you very much, Dean. And big up to Jordan. Very generous. Says, we are on course to concede over 60 Premier League goals for the 4th season running. It's embarrassing the excuses being rolled out for these centre-backs. Amen. Anyone who watched Toby and Jan would never rate Romero and VDV that highly. Jordan, again, all of these people that constantly praise Romero and Van der Ven, right? You are bang on. Toby and Jan, wow, that's a couple of centre-halves. That is a couple of centre-halves. Van der Ven's quick. My query is, if he wasn't that quick, how many clubs would want to sign him? I don't think he's a great defender. I think he has great games. I think he's a good player. But again, I think he will be bought by somebody like a Barcelona because they play a high line. So he'll go there and they'll use his legs to get back. You're absolutely spot on, Jordan. You're absolutely spot on, mate. But again, that means people need to go and do a bit of analysis. 4 years in a row, right? How many years has Romero been here? And he's been part of some of the worst defensive performances I've seen as a Spurs fan. But big up to you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that, Jordan. And Daniel Levy said, no manager can help if there are players wanting out, and the only way to achieve that is by relegation. Sure, if there are players wanting out, but it's the manager's job to come in and get them fighting in a relegation battle. And again, back to basics, right? Back to basics. Look, is it too late? You might be right. You might be right. Is it too late? We'll see. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Big up to you, Daniel Leave Me. Thank you very much. And by the way, just been sent this. Clean sheets. Game 1 to 15. 5. Right? So a third of our games, we got clean sheets. Game 16 to 31. 2. So 12% of those games, we got a clean sheet. What does it tell you? What does it tell you? Look, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's move on to this, shall we? So we got this news yesterday. Thank you very much to all those people who did like, who have liked the show, and for the super chats. It is always humbling, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. So thank you very much to all those that have. The likes are rubbish, though. 162. We should be on 300 by now. Hi, Savva. Sorry, not qualified to answer your poll. Dark times. It is dark times, Paul. It is dark times. The poll in the chat is this. It is, would you want a partnership with Zerbi and Kell? Both, 37%. Just Kell, 6%. Just Zerbi, 20%. And neither, 38%. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Now, we saw this yesterday. This was from Matt Law, if I can find it. There we go. This was from Matt Law, who said, exclusive. Roberto De Zerbi open to permanent Tottenham job if the club stay in the Premier League. Makes sense. Plus, Spurs in the final stages of sporting director hunt. Sources in Germany believe that Sebastian Kell is in the frame. Now, for those that don't know Sebastian Kell, I'm going to bring up his details in a minute. Let me get that ready. Sebastian Kell. Here we go. Sebastian Kell. Good player. Remember him as a player. Really good footballer. Played, if I'm not wrong, played multiple times for Germany and won multiple trophies. But we'll look at his profile in a minute. Sebastian Kell, who has just left Borussia Dortmund. Lots of people really like the way they go about their signings, and they seem to find these bargains from across the world and then sell them for big money. Players like, I did take a Photoshop of this yesterday. Kell was responsible for players like, oh God, I bet I can't find it. I can never find what I saved. Yeah, Kell was responsible for the signings of people like Schlotterbeck, Guirassy, Nemecha, Adeyemi, Joe Bellingham. So he's brought in some good players there. He's brought in some good players. But then we got this from Fabrizio Romano yesterday. Where is it? That was 4 hours ago. No, it was yesterday. Let me quickly go down. Romano posts so much, doesn't he? God. And Inter Milan want big money for Bastoni, who is a target for Barcelona. Where are we? Here we go. Right. So this is what Fab Romano said about De Zerbi yesterday. He said, Roberto De Zerbi has always been a main candidate for the Tottenham job in the summer if Spurs stay in the Premier League. The target, as always reported since he left Olympique Marseille, with Pochettino another name on the shortlist. De Zerbi to Spurs, currently only a topic for June. Now, hopefully this stops all the people that say, get him in now. Let's be fair. Why on earth, if you were De Zerbi, would you take the Tottenham job right now? You just wouldn't. Let me know in the chat. Yeah? Let me know in the chat. Maybe people think that De Zerbi is a possibility now. Money talks, sure, but his reputation also talks, right? Does he want to be the manager that gets Tottenham relegated? Now, it doesn't matter if Tudor or Frank's name have been with the club this year. It will show the record books that he is part of the team that went down, right? Him, Frank, Tudor, it will show all of them. So if I was De Zerbi, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole until the summer. I'll be brutally honest. Now, the question is, do people want De Zerbi? Right. This one's simple. Yes or no in the chat. Yes, this is purely De Zerbi, nothing to do with Sebastian Kell. Do you want the Zerbi if Spurs stay up? I've got a feeling this is going to be another manager that goes, Now, Sean is bang on. He said this will be box office. Sean is bang on. This would be box office if he came, but is that necessarily for the right reasons? Let's have a look so far. This is going to be very mixed. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. He is a hothead. It will crumble like Conte. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute because I don't make you wrong. Yes. Spurs need a proper British manager. What does that mean? I'm half Greek. Does that make me, am I proper British or not? Just so I know the rules. Yes. No. Oh, there's a lot more no's than I thought. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. I'll tell you what. This is going to be another manager, if he comes, that from day one split the fan base. So you can see it a mile off, right? Oh God, it will be fireworks. Him with Enoch. It'll be like, you know, when those two magnets put together and they just won't touch. It will be fireworks, as my man Sean says. There are lots of people that don't want him for different reasons. There are people that don't want him for some of his political views. I don't care about that. I'm not going to talk about it. There are people that don't want him because he's a hothead. There are people that don't want him because he leaves every club in some sort of mess or in some sort of drama. Good point by Mark. Says the opposite of stability. Look at this. No. Yes. Hands out, sure, good. Hell yes. Yeah, but he's not going to be taking us at the moment. He's not going to be the guy that keeps us up, right? Don't think he would join you. I think he would join us if we stay up. I don't feel like he's by the way, I like De Zerbi as a manager. I think there's a lot more to it than that, though. I'm not. I don't know. I feel like this is a borderline decision here. But is it the stability that Spurs need? Would those saying yes, would they rather him over Poch? Like, I don't know. Would Poch come? I don't know. This is going to be another summer, isn't it? Of just ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. That's what this is going to be. Poch versus De Zerbi versus Stelios. Who would you pick? I put Stel. Let's give it to Stel. Let's give him a crack at the whip. See, again, I'm going to show you all how you know Matt does not use his brain. I'm going to show you how he doesn't. Right? Fans not wanting De Zerbi are just wanting puppets and yes man. You do understand, Matt, that every club De Zerbi goes to, he ends up falling out with the owners. Right? It's written what's going to happen. When you say yes men, what's a yes man? Was Conte a yes man? Was Jose a yes man? Was Poch a yes man? Again, you don't think about what you say. Matt, I'm going to say it. You've got to be the most silly fan that I have come on here. Honestly, you never seem to think. Good point. What's De Zerbi one that Frank hasn't? I thought we needed a winner. Interesting, right? Now, look, straight away, right? You know how you know this is going to be a crazy appointment. Look already how everyone is so divided. Look how everyone is so divided. The number of comments in my chat at the moment are flying since I asked about De Zerbi. Am I a half British? Well, I mean, I was born in Britain. I'm British, but my dad's Cypriot. Look, I don't know. I said again, I promise I'm never going to give a hard and fast opinion on a manager because for me, I don't think anything really matters unless the owners change. But then does that bring in the bit about the director of football? Would Sebastian Kell and De Zerbi work well together? Would they be allowed to just get on and run the club together? I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't know. Look, I think this whole yes man thing is just stupid. When people say it, it's stupid. Most people who work for a company have to be a yes man to a degree. Not everyone gets what they want. You have to conform. But equally, Conte. So Conte's a yes man, right? He accepted Richarlison. Yes man. Like, he accepted Jed Spence. He's a yes man. Surely it doesn't work like that. Jose Mourinho. Is he a yes man? Jose Mourinho got given Vinicius Jr., Gedson, Doherty. But he's a yes man. Who do Spurs fans think that this mythical manager that is the ultimate non-yes man that's going to come in and tell everyone how it works and isn't going to get sacked? I don't think people, again, I don't think people like Matt have ever had a proper job and they understand how the world works. Right? You can't just say no to everything. You can't in any degree of life. You need a setup. This is the point again about the setup. Right? This is the point. You need a setup that works. Owners on the same page as the director of football, on the same page as the manager. Are they going to get everything they want the manager? Of course they're not. If the Zerbi comes in and goes, I want Wharton, and Spurs go, we couldn't get him. He went Chelsea. They'll go, oh, see, he's a yes man. He's settled for... Well, no, it means the club couldn't get him. And this is where I get so frustrated. Conte's not a yes man. Okay, brilliant. Okay. De Zerbi will expose the owners and he'll be sacked. What good is that to anyone? So Nuno, Frank and Tudor are yes men. Please explain to me, how's Frank a yes man and Conte wasn't? I just like to hear this. I just like to hear this. Weren't they all given the players they were given? Right? Weren't they all given the players they were given? Why is Tudor a yes man? How was Nuno a yes man? What does this mean? Honestly, mate, you make no sense. Honestly, Matt, you make no sense. So if the others, sorry, I'll come back to that in a minute, look. If the others are yes men, why is Conte not a yes man for accepting all the players he accepted for 18 months? Why is he not a yes man? I can't make this make sense in my head. All right, he flipped at the end. So what? Pochettino at the end said the same things, right? Ange has now said the same things. But when he was at the club, he was accepting players, right? So let me get this theory straight. We want De Zerbi to come in and call out the owners. What good is that going to do? We know about the owners. What good is it at the moment, managers calling out owners? We know. Do any of you, right? Do any of you guys need another manager to tell you what ENIC are like? I know exactly what ENIC are like. No manager cannot be a yes man in a way, shape, or form, right? Like, there's going to be things that they disagree on. There's going to be situations where I want this. We can't get it. We can't make that happen. Right? But he stayed, didn't he? But he stayed. So that makes him a yes man. Yes, I've been given Jed Spence, I'll stay. This is, by the way, I'm not saying he should have left, but this is ridiculous, right? This is ridiculous. When we're talking about yes men, Thomas Frank, for example, he wanted Eze. He wanted Gibbs White. He wanted Savio. Because he didn't get them, does that make him a yes man or the club couldn't get the players? Like, it's mad. Again, I'll say it because I'm not a child. It is throwaway comments. It is throwaway comments to make people feel better. Pick the manager you don't like, they're a yes man. Sure. Why was Nuno a yes man? What did Nuno do? Why is he a yes man? What did he do to make him a yes man? Was Redknapp a yes man? Redknapp, one of the best managers we've had in the Premier League era, he wanted Kehl and Tevez. Is he a yes man because he didn't quit? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Oh, mate, when he comes on, he just makes no sense. He can come on, but he just won't make sense. And then he goes, and then a few weeks later, he'll go, I schooled you. I schooled you. I schooled you. All right, schooled me with what? He makes no sense in what he says. No, Gaurav. Spurs downfall did not start with Ange. The Spurs downfall's been going on for years and years and years. I don't like Ange as a manager. I'm not blaming Ange for where we are now. And this is the thing people can't understand. They want to make it about one manager. Spurs haven't bought properly for years and years and years. There's been no plan for years and years and years. I can't just turn around and go, Ange ruined my football club. No, I didn't like him as a manager. Sure. Yeah, Matt can come on. We need a laugh. I'd love him to explain to me what a yes man is. I love this. In my new job, right? If I turn around and go, my boss says we need to do this. And I go, look, I think it'd be better if we went like this. And then the boss went, sorry, we're doing this. What do I do as an employee? Nah, that's it. I'm leaving. I hate this. Nah, you're right. You go, okay, I understand. I'm going to do it. You're paying me to do it. This is the basics of life, right? Am I a yes man because I come to a compromise with my wife about things? Is that a yes man or you compromise in life? When we sit down, I'll tell you the funniest row me and the wife ever have. We don't row a lot, to be fair. We don't. We really don't. We really don't row a lot. She's very chilled out. I think, and look, people like Ellie, you've met my wife. She's lovely, right? The biggest row my wife and I have is when we sit down and we go, right, we're booking a holiday tonight. Yeah. That is about a 6-hour task of pain, right? That is just a 6-hour task of pain where it's, I want this. I want this. I want this. I'm not going there. Well, I'm not going there. Well, that hasn't got a music at night. That hasn't got, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But you know what? You meet in the middle in the end. And guys, if you're not married, let me let you into a bit of a secret. More often than not, you lean a little bit more towards what they want than what you want, right? So but on a serious note, yeah. Good banter. Good banter, Phil Coys. Phil, fhtv barbecue. Hey, get it in there. Get your hotel booked. I want to see you again. We'll have another late night drink, me and you. On a serious note, I just find it funny. Do I want a manager that comes to this club and within a year has thrown their toys out the pram? No, because then we've got no stability again. What I want is the other side of things. Yeah? I want the other side of things. I want it to be that the owners, the director, and the manager are all on the same page. None of this yes man nonsense. Collaboration, teamwork, working together. Of course you're not invited. You think I'd give you my address, mate? You're a weird loose cannon. Absolutely not. Look. Sam, I've talked about this a million times. To be fair, that's the first time you've talked to me without being rude. What philosophy do I want to see? Listen, the philosophy isn't what I want to see. The philosophy needs to be what the football club want to be moving forward. I'm a fan. I don't get to dictate the philosophy. What I would like to see is that Spurs play a somewhat possession-based style pressing game of football. That's my favourite play. The way that, again, ridiculous. The way like the Barcelona plays, the City played, but the levels down, right? For me, I just want to see them implement a philosophy and stick with it. And what I mean by that is, it's okay if they bring in, let's just say, Sam, they bring in Zerbi, right? We know how Zerbi plays. We know how he wants to play. Please make sure that the manager that succeeds Zerbi is somewhere in that wheelhouse of that style of play. Doesn't need to be identical to Zerbi, but somebody that will pick up the players and go, yes, these are my style of players. I can continue on from the work that this manager's done. But Tottenham have bounced from Poch to Jose, to Nuno, to Conte, to Ange, to Frank, to Chut. Like, it's just, there's no, it's just a big bowl, isn't it? Like, it's as though if I go for dinner tonight, if I go and make dinner tonight, and I go, what am I making for dinner? I don't know, just get me any ingredients you find in the fridge. Yeah, but they don't go together. Don't worry, I'm just chucking it in a bowl and I'm mixing it around and I'm hoping for the best. But that's not all you have to do to make the... No, but again, see, this is the problem. Sam, this is not. To make a philosophy come true, you need to implement it with a director of football, and that needs to run throughout the club. From the youth teams, the scouts need to be on the same page. Yeah. The recruitment analysts need to be on the same page. The manager needs to be on the same page. The owners need to... It's not as simple as buy attacking players, because you still need defensive players, right? You can't... This is the problem. This is what the better clubs have implemented. The opposite to this. It's not just buying good attacking players, right? You need to complement your team. You need to complement your philosophy. You need to make sure that your scouts know, what do we want? What is a Spurs player? Right now, no one knows. Right now, no one knows what a Tottenham player is, because we just go and buy all sorts. Right? We go and buy all sorts. So that's what I mean when I say about a philosophy. I want to know, what are Spurs? What are Spurs? I want to know that we're going into the summer and we're saying, what players are we going to buy? Well, we know we're going to buy. We know we need a left winger that suits this philosophy. Great. We know we're going to get that. Right now, we have no idea what we're going to buy. You can look at all the players at Tottenham and say, what were they bought for? What was Van der Ven bought for? Was he bought purely for the Ange style with a high line? Right? What was Spence bought for? What was Bergvall bought for? Again, not about their abilities as players, just as players, what were they bought for? What was Gray bought for? Was Kudus bought for a particular reason? Was Gallagher? Was Solanke? Was we don't know why they were bought. It was just, oh, he's a player, he'll do. Boom. What's the formation? What's the philosophy? What's the system? No, we don't know. We're just going to mix it up. And until we get that, I don't think anything changes. So all the people in the chat going, which manager do you want, Savva? I don't think it matters until we get a philosophy. Now, maybe you bring in Zerbi and Kell and he implements a philosophy. I don't know. Right? Maybe you do. Now, let's have a look at Zerbi and Kell. Now, I know he was a very good player. Remember him as a player. So we've got here, look, you can see Zerbi and Kell. Let's see if that's big enough. Hang on, I might blow that up a tiny bit. Is that too big, or is that better? That's better, isn't it? So Zerbi and Kell, for all those asking, he's just finished, I believe. By the way, absolutely that. This is what we do. And this is why I don't make Sam Smith now wrong in that we need good attacking players, but you can't just buy good attacking players. You're right. 100%. Got to stop the random scattergun approach. Absolutely. DNA. Absolutely. And by the way, that doesn't get built in 1 year. And this is the thing. That's going to take a number of years to implement. But here we go. So Kehl is a German former professional footballer and sporting director who played as a defensive midfielder. He amassed 314 games and 24 goals over the course of 15 seasons, representing in the competition Freiburg and Borussia Dortmund. He won 6 major titles with Dortmund, including 3 national championships, a German international for 5 years. Kehl appeared for the nation in 2 World Cups, finishing second in the 2002 edition and Euro 2004. Let's scroll down a bit. Let's go to forget his club career at the moment. You can see he played for Germany 31 times. Let's have a look at his management career. So in 2018, Borussia Dortmund announced that Kehl become its players' license department director. And in June 2021, Borussia Dortmund announced that Kehl would be the successor to sporting director Michael Zorc following his retirement in summer 22. In March 2026, Borussia Dortmund announced that Kehl would leave the club by mutual consent. Kehl is married to Tina. There you go. They've got 3 children. Now, what we know about Kehl, sorry, let's move on from there. What was I going to show you? So we know that he's been the sporting director at only Borussia Dortmund. Now, that for some people might ring alarm bells. We know that he was, a lot of people said he was responsible for helping put together the squad that got to the Champions League final, that lost to Real Madrid. He's left after 4 years. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know the ins and outs of whether Kehl would be a great appointment. I'm guessing many of you that are saying yes or no don't really know either. Problem you're going to have here, well, why would Kehl, well, this is half the problem, right? Are we bringing in another director of football that is, hang on a second, what's going on here? 1 second. One second. Sorry, everyone. Are you going to want to bring in a director of football in the same model that we had with Paratici and Lang? Look how well that worked. Have we learned? Are we just going to go straight into the same? Are we going to go straight into the same disaster? Could well be a Scott Parker if we go down. Could well be. Look, I don't know the answer to any of this. I don't know the answer to any of this. Look, he's got 4 years under the belt at Dortmund. We could clearly see Dortmund are very good at buying players. They've always been very good at buying players. 1 second. 1 second. My door's about to go. Please bear with me. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. So I guess the question is, are we going to learn from the Lang Paratici debacle? And does Lang stay? Right? Now, does anyone know enough about Sebastian Kell, the director of football, rather than the defensive midfielder? I remember him as a player. Sam Smith, if you say silly things, you're just going to get blocked. You were doing so well. Just try and talk normally, please. Please, can you just try and talk a little bit normally? That would be amazing. By the way, I'm going to go until about 1 o'clock. I think that Shawnee boy's going at 1 o'clock. Good to see he's back. He was AWOL, but it looks like he's back. But yeah, please just keep it football. Just keep it football. That's all we've got to do, guys. Yeah, keep it football. Can we stop calling it? I see people keep saying Savva's lapdog, all stuff like that. I see these silly things. It's normally Destiny who says all this stupid shit, isn't it? It's normally that Destiny guy who is, I don't get him, but it's not, let's just listen. Let's get rid of Plasma because he comes in and just says stupid shit. There we go. I guess the question is, does any of this, what we're talking about, matter if we get relegated? Right? If we get relegated, De Zerbi's not joining in the Championship, surely. Would Kehl want to join in the Championship? I don't know. Can Lang... I think Lubo made a wonderful point yesterday. Said, Johan Lang has now overseen the two worst ever... I mean, if we go down or if we finish 17th, the two worst ever Premier League finishes. How, as a director of football, can that be allowed to go unpunished? How? How? How can you sit there as a football club with any, I don't know, with any ambition at all and say, this director of football has overseen our 2 worst ever Premier League seasons, right? He's going to stay again. Like that's absolutely mad. And I've got, again, this is not personal. Johan Lang seems like a nice guy. This is not personal. The same way Tudor seems like a lovely guy. I've got nothing against them as men and human beings. But you failed, right? You failed. I think Lang's had bad window after bad window after bad window after bad window. And it's not that he hasn't spent the cash. It's not that he hasn't spent the cash. So the question is, does Kehl come in? Does Kehl come in and he is the director of football alongside a Zerbi, alongside a Pochettino? What do they do with Kehl? Do they give him the keys to the castle? Now, that's the key thing for me. The keys to the castle. Do they turn around and go, Kehl, you're in charge. You pick the manager. That's what I want. I want a director of football that picks the manager. You pick the manager. You are in charge. If that manager fails, that's on you. That's your hire. Your hire. You pick the manager. You pick the recruitment team. You pick the scouts. You pick the recruitment analysts. You sign the players. You sack the manager. You sack the coaches. That is what I want from a director of football. None of this half-hearted stuff. You do it. You pick it. You implement what you think Tottenham Hotspur need to be for the next 5, 10, 15 years. Doesn't mean he's going to be here for 5, 10, 15 years, but you implement it. Okay, Kehl, thank you. 3, 4 years down the line, you've moved on to Real Madrid. I don't care. Right, next director of football comes on. Here's our journey. You're going to join us if you believe in this journey. Go and continue it. Nope. What do? There's Lang and Paratici. One does the youth, one does the senior, and they're going to both butt heads at every occasion. Because if you don't have one man making the decision, then no one's making a decision. Right? And it's like, I tell you what I watched the other day. Big up El Tel. I like the way he calls me the Reverend. We are in service. The one thing that I watched the other day, I don't know if any of you have seen it on Netflix. Oh my God. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I forgot. I said, make yourself a tea, and I forgot. How bad is that? My uncle's just arrived. I just said, I let him in the front door and make yourself a cup of tea. I'll be finishing soon. It's his bloody birthday today. I've just seen it on the family WhatsApp group. Oh, dearie me. Happy birthday. He is a Spurs fan. He is a Spurs fan. And yeah, Spurs for a birthday might get rid of Tudor. Look, I was watching the Murdoch program on Netflix, right? I was watching the Murdoch program, and it was, and I'll tell you why this is relevant. Is it was the big problem was, right, that the votes were split. Like, it could have been with the kids that two said this, two said that, and they're at stalemate when they own the company. So the whole point was, where's the balance of power going to go? And this is the kind of the problem that Tottenham had. If you haven't seen it, by the way, go and watch the Murdoch documentary. It is crazy. All these billionaires arguing about power. Like, okay, no, people don't understand. You're billionaires. Stop moaning over £1 billion. You've all got about 9 billion in the bank. Anyway, this is kind of what we've done with Paratici and Lang, right? Paratici, Lang. I want Akliouche. I don't want Akliouche. All right. Nothing happens. All right. When you've got that one guy, now the conversation is the director of football with the manager. Listen, if I can get you Akliouche, you interested? If I go and scout him, if I go and, yeah, I like him, I can get that going. Cool. There we go. Done. Not, Oh, hang on. No, I don't, because I'm a director of football as well, and I don't see that's the right direction for the club. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, right? We can't exist in a world like that. It just can't. But Spurs will. You just know it. You just know it. And listen, I'll be pleasantly surprised if we get to the summer and Lang is sacked. Do I trust them to get the right guy in? No. They've talked about Winstanley from Chelsea. They've talked about Dougie Freedman. Sebastian Kell's name is being mentioned. Lots of people want Paul Mitchell back. I don't know. Again, we need a manager for now, a manager for the summer, a director of football for the summer. We need loads of players out, loads of players in. It's the whole thing's a mess. The whole thing is a mess, isn't it? And we all sit here arguing every day about what's a worse mess or what's a, this manager, that manager, this player, that player. The whole thing's a bloody shit show, isn't it? The whole thing is a shit show. Look, Mitchell, yeah, Mark, big up, said, yeah, it's been shite ever since Mitchell left. Listen, Mitchell could identify a player. Right now, I don't know. I feel like we're really clutching on the players we rate. I think we're really clutching. Do you know what I mean? Like, cool, I think he's good. And I think in 3 years, this boy will be, but can we identify a player for now? Top G has said, director of football I'd like to see. Gasolfi, Friedman, Hobbs, Kroos, Stewart, Ashworth, Dykes. Look, there's directors of football everywhere, right? I guess the question is going to be, is it going to be to work with Lang? Is it going to be to work on their own? And how many of these people might say no because they have to work with Lang? Like, if you're going to approach me, if you approached me right now and went, hey, if my agent said to me, Tottenham Hotspur want you to be the director of football. Okay, that sounds interesting. What's the plan? But by the way, you're going to be a joint director of football. Nah. Because they've got egos as well. Nah. I want to run it. I need to run it. I need my vision to be the vision. But we'll see. Mark said, Savva, they need to spend on top quality players and player wages, not players that are from relegated clubs. Sure, but they need to buy the right players, Mark, for a philosophy. We can't just, Spurs don't pay badly. Let's be brutally honest about this. I think a lot of people say this. We don't pay badly. We've got players, lots of players over 150 grand a week. We've got a couple of players over 200 grand a week. See, again, I'll show you guys. This guy doesn't get it, does he? So the football director is irrelevant if we have the wrong manager. Manager, the most important piece of the puzzle. He doesn't get it. The director of football is the most important person. Then he brings in the manager. He's not getting it. This is, as I said before, guys, fans like that don't get it. It doesn't matter how much they see, they don't get it. You can bring in whatever your manager you want. If this isn't right up here, this doesn't matter. They've got to get this right. Again, as I said, Matt has shown again, he doesn't understand how football clubs work. You've got to get that right. The director of football, absolutely, is the first in the, absolutely. The director of football is key. The director of football is key. If the director of football doesn't matter, then Matt is happy to keep Johan Lang, right? If the director of football isn't the important one, fine. Absolutely, Shermanator. They must be on the same page. They must be on the same page. And there's so many that can't seem to understand that. Got to be on the same page. There's got to be a philosophy. There's got to be something implemented. Of course, and that's the worry, right? Of course, and I agree with you, Sam Smith. Let's be nice to each other from now on, Sam Smith. I'm bored of all the fighting, right? Yes, absolutely. That is the worry. If Vinay is the guy that is in charge of doing that, then I worry. But only he can prove us wrong on that, right? Paul, exactly. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. No. See, again, Again, that's not how it works at every football club. At lots of football clubs, the directors of football are allowed to run it. Whether it's called a director of football or operations director, they're allowed to run it and pick what they want. Again, this is the problem we're not understanding. Matt, I'm bored of you. There's a reason I got rid of you. You go. Honestly, I literally could sit here now and say it is Tuesday. Matt tells you it's Wednesday. It's so boring, right? Honestly, have you ever seen someone as contrarian as Matt? He doesn't get it. Look at Matt, I'll tell you how you know you're not getting it. Tottenham Hotspur have had Jose Mourinho, Pochettino, Antonio Conte, but that up there doesn't work. How are you not getting it? How are you not getting it? The director of football needs to implement a philosophy throughout the club that supersedes the manager, i.e., the philosophy Brighton have supersedes Potter, De Zerbi, Hertzler. It supersedes that, so that when Hertzler goes, nothing at the club changes. They bring in another manager that they would have scouted with that way of playing or that philosophy and belief. How do you not get that? Not everything is about upskilling the players. Yeah, you've got to have a way of playing and a belief. And oh my God, it's such hard work, isn't it? It is such hard work. But as I said, people like that, they see the same issues every year and they still don't get it. That is why I say people like Matt deserve relegation, because they don't understand what it takes. People like Matt deserve it. The arrogance will sweep Nottingham Forest aside. He said it about Fulham and Palace as well. We'll sweep them aside as everyone else in the league is looking at us and laughing because we can't win a game for love nor money. The arrogance, the sheer arrogance. The arrogance of these fans is just beyond belief. And maybe the relegation is what they need to humble them. Right? They need it to humble them. Maybe then they will realize that the club needs to implement something. Sure, at the moment, it looks like we're going down, right? It looks like we're going down right now. It looks like we're going down. I think if Tudor stays, we're gone. I genuinely believe that at this stage. He's shown enough to me over these 7 games that he doesn't know what he's doing. He's shown enough to me over these 7 games that he changes the team and the tactics and the formation every single game. Absolutely, Money Mace. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is my point. It doesn't matter how many shows I go on and say the squad isn't good enough. I'm being told, oh, but so-and-so want this plan, so-and-so want that plan. But this is 2 years in a row. And if you go back even further, as I said to you yesterday, I showed this yesterday, people didn't want to believe it, right? Look at that. That's 3 years to today. That's 3 years to the day. And Everton and Forest are only below us because they got point deductions. That's 3 years to the day. But still, on paper, don't forget, on paper, we're better. On paper, we're better. On paper, we're better. Well, when you're like this for 3 years in a row, it kind of tells you you're not, right? Facts will fact. Diabolical. As I said, Everton are actually have accumulated more points than that. But they got their 8-point deduction. Nottingham Forest got their point deduction as well. Those 2 teams would be above us. That means that the only 2 teams in the last 3 calendar years that are worse than us are West Ham and Wolves. That's absolutely crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, guys, girls, I'm going to leave it there, I think. I'm going to leave it there for today. I've got a few... Oh, no, let's get rid of that. Let's remove this. There we go. I'm going to send you all over to Sean. Before I do, big up to Luke. Thank you very much. You said Chirpy could be manager to the end of the season for all I care. this is going to come down to players taking accountability rather than one man. Yes, the players have to step up. But what I will say, Luke, is at least get a manager that plays the players in their correct positions. At least get a manager that isn't floating between a back three, a back five, a back four, a back to every game. Thank you very much. I don't disagree with you, though. The players have to take it. Oh, Sam, why are you being nice? Why are you being nice to me? I like it. Anyway, guys, by the way, that's 3 years. Yes, does coincide. That 3 years, I've lied. It's not 3 years. It will be 3 years on Thursday. That is since the Conte rant. That is since the 26th of March, 2023. Guys, I don't know if Sean has started yet. Let's see if he has. If he has, I'll send you over there. Spurs Talk Show. Has he started? View channel. Come on, Shawnee. I'll send you over there now. Listen, take care. Much love, everyone. Thank you, Ellie, for the super stick. I really appreciate you, Ellie. You're, of course, coming to the barbecue. Of course you are. I trust you, Ellie. You can come. I'm not doing a meet and greet with people like you. No offense, mate. You baffle me. You baffle me as a human. Yeah, no. Like, guys, girls, much love. Take care. Who knows? We might be back later if there is some news about Igor Tudor. The thumbnail is ready to go. Take care. Smash the like on Sean's show. Subscribe to him. Say fhtv or Savva Raid. And as always, come on, you Spurs.